Hello friends, I am Dr. Kuldeep Mohadikar. I will be presenting in this video my 21st chapter from my series Literary Pearls. It will deal with the William Wordsworth as a poet of revisit. The poet revisits the why after a lapse of 5 years. Once again he hears the murmur of the why and sees the steep and lofty cliffs, the dark sycamore, the plots of cottage ground, the orchard with its unripe fruits, the hedgerows, the pastoral farms, and columns of smoke rising from among the trees, with a distant glimpse of gypsy tents in the woods or of some hermit's cave. So, friends, a long absence does not seem to have blotted out of his memory these beautiful farms. These beautiful shapes of nature have been a source of comfort to him and have sustained him during his exile amidst the noise and bustle of towns and cities. They have also a profound spiritual effect on him. He owes to them that exalted mood in which he can pursue the reality above and beyond earthly things. In these moments of illumination, when all is wrapped in a state of joy and harmony, he has an insight into the life of things. But if this were a vain belief, the poet knows at least that whenever he is oppressed by the unprofitable and meaningless business of the world, he has turned to the ever sustaining memory of the wooded landscape of the Wye for comfort. Now, once again, the poet stands on the banks of Wye, and the old picture revives in his mind. He looks forward to many pleasant thoughts to be called up by the memory of the landscape. Then he contrasts his present feelings with the past ones. In his childhood day, the poet's love of nature was simply a healthy boy's delight in outdoor life. In his boyhood day, he enjoyed nature only through the senses. At that time, the sounding cataract haunted him like a passion, and his hungry soul fed itself on the beautiful colors and lovely forms of the mountains and the woods. As yet, his love for nature was untouched by intellectual interest or associations, we can say. But as he advanced in age gradually, he began to look upon nature in a new light after his familiarity with the sufferings of mankind. At last, he has discovered in nature the existence of living spirit, a pervasive spirit that dwells in the light of the setting sun and the round ocean, in the living air and the blue sky, and in the mind of man. He still loves the objects of nature which appeals to his senses. He is happy to find that his purest thoughts are stimulated by nature, and her impressions received through the avenues of his sense organs. Nature has thus become the nurse, the guide, the guardian of his heart, and the soul of all his moral being. It is quite possible that even if he had not learned this session from nature, he would not have allowed his warm feelings to lose their liveliness, because he has the company of his dear sister on the banks of the beautiful river Wye. In her eyes he can still see glimpses of pleasure which he had enjoyed 5 years ago. The lesson that he has learned is that nature never betrays the heart that loves her. Nature leads us from joy to joy, fills our minds with quietness and beauty, so that evil tongues, unsympathetic judgments, the sneers of selfish men, and the dreary intercourse of daily life cannot disturb our cheerful faith. He asked his sister to go on enjoying the beauties of nature. If in future years she is affected with loneliness, fear, or pain, she can look back to these hours of delight in the company of her brother and find comfort in the impressions of nature stored up in her mind. If in time to come it should so happen that he is separated from her, even then she would remember that he had stood with her on the banks of the river Wye, and that he had revisited the place as a devoted worshipper of nature, and that her company had enhanced the beauty of nature in his eyes. That's was all about my 21st chapter from the Literary Pearls, entitled as William Wordsworth as the Poet of Revisit. Thanks, friends.